In for Baccarat, and that goes in! Hugo Baccarat gives Flint City a 3-2. Buckley, the ball falls to Buckley. One-on-one with Etheridge. What a save!
Welcome into the first ever MSN All-State Media Day for girls soccer. Jonathan Turner alongside Dan Stickrat.
Ball comes in, a good head! 1-0! Shot, another save from Etheridge! Rebound, and it goes in the back of the net. The Bulldogs up 1-0! Burzma, but then for Vlasma! 3-0! Stewart Heights with a shot! Upper 90 and in!
Effectively today here on the Michigan Soccer Network, we are launching our new division of player recruitment videos.
Mario Canoe now finds Sock. Finds Sock's got a left-footed banger. He shoots it! It's in! The Red Hawks equalize!
All right, I am now joined by Kalamazoo Christian, the Comets head coach, Jay Allen. Also happens to be the Division IV Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association Division Chair. But Jay, we did this last year. We're doing it all over again. Congratulations on making it back to the state finals.
Thank you.
So let's talk about this season. I mean, you lost a number of players from last year's team. You lost a player in Taylor Leonard, who was fantastic, was a dream team player. But you reloaded, and you found a way to get through a tough division and make your way into a state final again.
Yeah, this year, actually, we returned our whole defense from last year. So we knew going into the season that our defense would be carrying us. And we haven't scored near the goals that we have in the past. And, yeah, when Taylor Leonard left, that left a big void in our offense. So we just converted some other players and into offensive players. And we, as you could see by our scores, we kind of beat teams with our defense by 1 or 2 goals. And we have very few blowouts this year.
And not that, I guess, we talk about the scoreline quite a bit here. All you have to do is win by 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all that matters in soccer. It doesn't matter if you score 30 goals or 2. The 1's all that matters. And that's what you did here this past week in a semifinal against Grand Rapids North Point Christian. It was a 1-goal game. As a matter of fact, for much of districts, it was either a 1 or 2 goal scoreline for you. But talk about this playoff run, because, again, for the people at home who don't understand the nuances of high school soccer, it's one and done. So if you lose a game, you're out of the playoffs. Different than maybe that of other sports, but this one more unique. Talk about how hard it is to go into a district round and win in districts and then keep going.
Yeah, the hard part about it is you have to approach each game one at a time. But a lot of these teams that we might face, we've already played. So now strategy comes into it, and then injuries, and you have to change certain things, approach the game differently. And like you said, it's one and done. So where in a regular season you may take a few more chances, during the tournament play, you come in with a game plan and you convince your players that they have to execute this game plan, and you stick to it.
And, as you had mentioned, again, starting off as we talk about here, you started off a district play against Schoolcraft. That game, obviously a lopsided game, but I mean, every other game thereafter, Kalamazoo Hackett Catholic Prep, a ranked team this season, 2-1 victory there. In the district final, in the regional semifinal, you beat Battle Creek Calhoun Christian. And then in the regional final, you beat Granville Calvin Christian, another ranked team this season. I'll walk through that round of regionals, because a lot of times, from what we see across the state, a lot of times you come out of a tough district, it might be an easier first round of regionals, and then maybe it gets a little tougher. Sometimes districts are so difficult that it's hard to get out of. So talk about the west side of the state for those that maybe don't understand kind of the complexities of district play and regional play.
Well, our district is always tough because Hackett is our rival, has been for years. So that game is always emotional, and it always takes a lot out of you. And we came into the Calhoun Christian game carrying some injuries and some food poisoning issues from open houses, and we just weren't 100%. I mean, we had 27 corners and didn't convert on any, 56 shots and only scored 2. So it was just one of those where we just weren't finding the back of the net that day. And again, no excuses, but we were carrying some illnesses and injuries. We got our 2 goals. We got out of there, and we started prepping for Calvin Christian, and that is almost another rivalry historically with us. Years ago, we would always meet in regionals, and it was a battle, and they always came out on top until probably last year. I think it was the first time our program had ever beaten Calvin Christian. This year they came in. They had some very strong offensive threats, so we had to neutralize that. Our biggest problem was how were we going to score? Again, we're short Taylor Leonard, so we had to convert a center back into a striker. We had to convert a goalkeeper whose first time playing high school soccer into a striker, and rely on them to give us a little bit of offensive push. Obviously, having a strong midfield, even though they're young, along with Jordan Bonham, helps. But that's the biggest thing. We capitalize on our one set play that we had with Calvin Christian, and then we just locked it down. And again, our defense has carried us most of the season.
No, and obviously it's led you to a state final where you'll be taking on Jackson Lumen Christi here on Friday afternoon at 1:00 kickoff. Actually, it'll be our audio only stream will be available here on the Michigan Soccer Network YouTube channel. Let's talk about that matchup. This is a team that has had success in the finals before, as well as you. So talk about this matchup and really what to expect from it here on Friday.
Well, we played them already once earlier in the season. We came out on top with a last-minute goal against them. I think this is just a continuation of that back-and-forth battle that we had with them. They're very, very strong offensively. If you fall asleep, they'll put 2 goals by you before you even know it. And they have a very strong defense. Their center back is outstanding. I have heard that she does move around to midfield from time to time, but she's an outstanding player, and we're going to have to find a way around her again if we want to be successful. And again, it's going to require some creativity on our part and locking down their offense.
You've been here before. You were here last year. This team remembers last year, right? What that moment was like to hoist a trophy. That experience bodes well in these types of situations, right? We talk about that all the time about experience. And while sometimes the experience of not being someplace might actually bode well, you've been here before as a coach, been here before, the players have been here. Is your preparation for Friday, are you talking about that experience, or are you letting them kind of live this moment as a new moment for them as they move into this playoff, this final game here on Friday?
We try not to compare ourselves to last year because we're a whole different team. So we're just approaching this like we have been the whole season, just a new game, and a game that obviously it's our final game, and we want to leave it on the field. So that's really how we're approaching it. Obviously in the back of some of the seniors' mind and the sophomores that have been there 2 other times, they liked it when we hoisted the trophy. But we understand we're coming up against a very strong opponent, and we just need to leave it on the field. And that's really the approach we're taking. We try not to hype it up too much.
No, and that's a great way to look at it. And the reality of this too is you're playing at a field where most schools in across the state of Michigan, just because of the costs associated with keeping up grass and all the rentals and all those things that go on, most schools are playing on turf nowadays. As a matter of fact, I'm assuming your semifinal was played on a turf field, and you're about to go on to a really gorgeous soccer pitch. I mean, one of the best pitches in the state of Michigan as far as grass is concerned. I mean, shoot, I think Michigan State's in charge of dealing with all the FIFA World Cup grass fields. So, I mean, you're going to go into a fantastic pitch. Does that play? I mean, how do you prepare for going from a turf field to a grass field in this environment when for most of the season you're playing on turf?
Well, actually, our home field is grass.
It is grass. Okay.
Yeah. So we're super excited to get off of turf.
Okay. Well, good.
We are probably one of very few teams that despise playing on turf because we don't play enough on it and to be comfortable. So playing the final on grass for us actually is more of a welcoming than not. You know, we had to rent K College's field, and well, we didn't rent it. They allowed us to practice on their field just so we could, during the tournament run, have a feel for how the ball plays different. Now going back to grass, it'll be easier for us because, in my opinion, because that's the surface that we're used to playing on.
No, and obviously the field's wider too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of your high school soccer fields are under 65 yards, right? And this field is bigger, significantly bigger. And that also means that, you know, at this time of the season, when it's 85 degrees outside, your team's in because the spring season is such a weird season, right? Mm-hmm. If you coach high school boys soccer, you know, there's not a lot of interruptions that take place. But in the girls' season, there's all these distractions, there's graduation, there's all these things, these moving pieces. Prom, they have nothing to do with soccer, and it just screws everything up. And it's like by the time you get to this part of the season, it's almost like, you know, you want like a sigh of relief, but at the same time, you're playing in an environment where there's going to be 3,000 people on a very large field. It's going to be hot out. It's going to be a Friday afternoon game when most games take place during the early evening hours, right? So how do you manage that as a coach? Because again, you're going in, you're probably getting on a bus at, you know, if you're not to spend the night, 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday to get things out, get back here into town, and how do you manage that aspect of this?
You know, the good part, one of the good things we have is I have assistant coaches that have won state finals and have been there. I also have a couple kids that have been to a state final, but really I take an approach kind of like the movie Hoosiers. We get there early. We walk the field and, you know, hey, the goal is the same size. The box is the same size. The only thing different is, you know, it's 300 yards in both directions, you know, and that's the only real difference. Other than that, we travel with a large crowd during tournament time. So, you know, having a lot of people there, I don't think is going to be too much of a distraction. Maybe some of the freshmen might be a little overwhelmed, but yeah, again, I go back to you just downplay it as much as you can. It's a big stage for them, but as coaches and especially as the head coach, it's another. You have to play along like it's another game.
No question about that. Jay, we're excited to see you here on Friday, competing for another state championship against Jackson Lumen Christi. That game kicks off at 1 o'clock right here on YouTube, audio only. If you want to watch it, the video side of it, you can go to the NFHS network and watch that game along with all the other 3 games here taking place this weekend.